Test. mics are going live.
Hello and welcome to Boulder City City Council meeting this June 8th. We welcome those who are here with us in the room and those who are joining online. We will call the meeting to order, and can we have confirmation of posting and roll call, please?
Yes, thank you. The agenda was posted in accordance with Nevada open meeting law, and Mayor Hardy is absent and all other members are present in the chamber.
Thank you. At this time, we will have the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation is going to be given by Pastor Seth, I just want to say it right, Lazan? That's right? Fantastic. He's from Grace Community Church, so if you will please rise.
It's my joy to be here today. So let's bow our heads in prayer. Lord Jesus, we thank you so much for your great love for us. Lord, this world is a chaotic place, and we want to humble ourselves before you that we would be the people who can create and to govern your constituency well. Lord, by your Spirit, we pray that humility would reign supreme today. That as we read in Proverbs 22, that humility is the fear of the Lord, we ask that this would be a place where humility is the hallmark of the people. Lord, we lift you up and we praise you that you have brought us into this place and you have put each person here for a purpose, and we pray that wisdom would be on their minds and they would seek to do what is right and good for the people of Boulder City, and as well as everyone who visits this wonderful place. We thank you that you have brought us here and that you will bring us through. In your name we pray, Jesus. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor, for opening our meeting. We will start now with public announcements.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to remind everybody that tomorrow, June 9th, 2026, is primary election day from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And the vote centers in Boulder City are Boulder City Recreation Center, 900 Arizona Street, and Boulder City High School Gym, 1101 5th Street. As always, you can go to any vote center, and all of them are listed in your sample ballot.
Great, and I think that's an explanation of why we're meeting today on Monday, right? Because tomorrow is voting day. So, are there any other public announcements? Then we'll move on to public comment. In this section, it is those items that are on the agenda that you can stand and comment on. You have 3 minutes. So if there's anyone in chambers who would like to come forward, they may, but please make sure you write your name down and say your name for the record. And also anyone who would like to call in, it's 702-589-9629. Again, that phone number is 702-589-9629. Is there anyone on the phone? Anyone in chambers? Okay, seeing no one in chambers and nobody on phone, we will close public comment at this time. And we have for possible action approval of regular agenda. Madam City Clerk, are there any changes to the regular agenda?
No changes to the regular agenda.
I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
A second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Now we'll move on to approval of consent agenda. Madam City Clerk, is there any changes?
Yes, it was requested that items number 5 and 6 be moved from the consent to regular agenda for discussion.
Will they be placed before 8 and 9, or 7, 8, and 9?
Correct.
Okay, with that information, do I have a motion?
Move to approve consent agenda, or a regular, I'm sorry, consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you. So we will move on to number 5 and number 6.
Thank you. I'm Brock Armichod. I'm the city's contract real estate manager. This is for item 5, to approve Resolution 8141, to authorize the reappraisal of land located at the northwest area of Dutchman's Pass, also referred as Black Hills North, consisting of approximately 1,275 acres. Purpose of the reappraisal is to determine the appropriate lease value for the development of a solar power generation and battery energy storage facility. This was previously appraised last year in preparation of the issuance of the request for proposals to solicit a potential lessor for the property. Due to the length of time, the appraisal will become stale before we can enter into a lease. So that we can have a current appraised value, we do need to have the land reappraised so that as we proceed with the lease negotiations, we have a minimum base value to work from.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments at this time?
The only question I have is under financial, it says desert lands are unique in their valuation, and determining approximate lease rate at this time is impractical. Can you explain what that means? Impractical.
Because desert lands are undeveloped by their very nature, staff just can't come up with a number out of the air, what it might appraise at. The primary reason why we seek appraisals. If you were to ask what land might be worth next door to City Hall, we would have a better idea based on surrounding land values, and we could perhaps come up with an estimated value. Being land out in the desert, because every site is unique in its location, proximity to transportation, utilities, and so on, we don't even attempt to guess what the appraisal might come in at.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Question. Is this property within the El Dorado transfer area?
This is within the El Dorado transfer area and subject to the restrictions as set by city charter.
Which means the only land use would be?
There's 4 or 5 specific land uses: renewable energy, recreation, natural gas as limited by the voters as approved several election cycles ago, and desert tortoise habitat,
And battery energy storage?
and battery energy storage.
Thank you. So there's no other land use possible for this whatsoever?
Not unless approved by the voters.
And battery energy storage doesn't convert to anything else? It's built as battery energy and stays as battery?
That is correct.
Thank you. That's my only question.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve Resolution 8140.
I second it.
8141.
Was it 8141? Sorry.
Yes.
And a second.
And we have a first and a second on that.
Fantastic, thank you. We have a first and a second. Any comments or any questions at this time? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that brings Brock back up to talk about 6.
Again, Brock Armitrout for the record, the city's real estate and contract manager. This is for item 6, resolution A142, to authorize the reappraisal of land located on the east side of Drumport Avenue between Spring Canyon Road and Black Hills Drive. Also referenced as the southwest corner of Spring Canyon Drive and US 95. This is to reappraise approximately 141 acres to determine the lease value for the development of battery energy storage facilities. Similar to the last item, this was previously appraised a year ago prior to the issuance of a request for proposal to solicit battery energy storage proposals to lease the land. As we're negotiating with the leases, the existing appraisal will go stale, so this is to reestablish the minimum lease rate. So as we proceed with the appraisal of the negotiations, we get the best possible value for the city. Much like the last item, this is also located within the El Dorado Valley transfer area, subject to the limitations of the city charter for permitted land uses, of which battery energy storage systems are listed.
Do we have any questions or comments at this time?
It's just that we had a recent budget or agenda item referring to easements for transmission in this area, right?
That's correct. It goes across one of these parcels. By a project being constructed currently in the 2 areas that bound the city land in Clark County for a battery energy storage facility. That easement was to tie the 2 parcels together so that the developer of that battery energy storage project could tie his project together through our land.
Strictly an easement is all that.
Strictly an
was for.
easement.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. If there's no other questions, I'll move to approve. Let me get the right number here.
8142.
8142.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. With that, we'll move on to the regular agenda. We have a presentation today on matters pertaining to fiscal year 2027 city insurance premiums.
Good evening, Council. I'm Paul Sikora. I am your Purchasing, Grants, and Risk Manager for the city. And tonight I have my risk management hat on with what I think is some good news. Behind me, you will see the team from Pool Pack and Levitt Insurance, who have been here all day helping us complete and conduct our very first ever Risk Management Day, which was a series of briefings for the city employees about a bunch of risk management and safety related topics, and it went off great. Representatives from Pool Pack Risk Management, Human Resources, the Finance Department, Davies Claim Solutions were all here, and we also have our broker from Levitt Insurance here as well. Now on to this presentation. Every year we get our insurance premium in June, and we bring it to City Council for review and for consideration, and that's what we're asking tonight. You're going to receive a briefing from Marshall Smith from Pool Pack on how our premium was calculated for this year, and then we're going to ask you to consider Resolution 8143 to pay that premium for the year. With that said, just in a nutshell, this year we saw a 0.33% reduction from our policy from last year. We believe it's good news. And I'll let Marshall talk more about that and how we achieved that this year. So, Marshall, thank you.
Marshall Smith, Pool Pact. I have the pleasure of serving as the risk manager for Pool Pact. And if you could put that presentation up, please. Thank you very much. Very fast. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about the coins. I'm going to ask Alan Calt to come up and do that. But very quickly, I want to hit a couple of other spots. This, about Pool Pact, and you've heard me talk about it before, but I think it's so important to explain to it. You are Pool Pact. Every one of the 144 members of Pool Pact is the owner. But the governance of Pool Pact is significant. If you look, we have the Pool Executive Committee, and Pool is the Nevada Public Agency Insurance Pool. And then on the right side, we have the PACT Executive Committee, which is the Public Agency Compensation Trust. One is the workers' comp, one is the general liability. Then we have the Enterprise Risk Management Committee, and then the PRI Oversight Committee, which is the HR. My point here is that every policy, every coverage change, every edit to the coverage, every change to a program, building a program, amending a program is determined by one of these committees. And if you look at every person on every one of these committees, everyone is a Pool Pact member. This isn't by a board of directors in Chicago or Delaware or Ontario. Everyone is a Pool Pact member. So only Pool Pact members make the fundamental decisions which impact the rest of the pool. And then the primary services that we provide, of course, are cybersecurity, emergency services support, a robust on-demand e-learning, human resources, health and wellness, and then, of course, the enterprise risk management program. And today we had a presentation regarding Boulder City's status as a ERMEP, Enterprise Risk Management Excellence Program award winner, which is only one of 8 in the entire pool. And it's a 3-year program, so it's coming up again in 2027, and Boulder City will engage in that again, which is just, it is awesome. It is a magnificent program and has tremendous support, engagement by your by your city staff and department heads. And then briefly, here's the other programs that we provide all of our members, and I assure you that Boulder City is engaging in these programs. Now, next is here is the outline of the various coverages that are provided that you as a Pool Pact member have, from property, general liability, auto, wrongful acts, cyber, terrorism, casualty, environmental, and then, of course, student accident coverage. But I wanted to stop very briefly on this slide. This is the Nevada Public Agency Insurance Pool Coverage Summary Changes within the 2026-2027 coverage. So all of the changes, which you can see what they are here, an increase in property per loss to $500 million, equipment breakdown increase. I'm not going to read them all, but all of these changes to the policy coverage form was made by the Pool Pact committees, the executive committees. You know, you think about your auto coverage or your homeowners, the likelihood of any one of us as an insured in those policies, what is the likelihood of going to a board meeting for State Farm or Travelers or the Hartford and saying, you know, I want you to make these policy changes? You can't do it. But here with the pool, it is the member pool, member-owned, member-governed. All right. Now, next we have the pool renewal. So your total cost this year is $930,268.52. Of that, $60,847.75 is your agent compensation. And so you say, well, how do we develop what the coverage, your contribution price is? And so if we look here, the total program cost is 0.33% less this year. Well, how do we get there? If you look at the key exposures, it is all dependent upon these factors. So for payroll, this year at a 22.08% increase. That has an impact on what your contribution is. If you have a decrease in payroll, you're going to pay less. Similarly, your total insured value, all your property, all your vehicles, all of those things, we had an increase of 5%. So if you have more vehicles, you have more property, that's cost more to insure those things. Similarly, if you sold property, they're no longer on the assessment, you'd pay less for that. That's how it corresponds. Your auto count went down 1.64%. Law enforcement, you added one officer. Employees, 2.01% increase. So that is how your contribution is determined. That's how much it costs. And I think with that, if you have any questions about that, I can bring that back here and try to answer any questions that you have about that.
Are there any questions?
Thank you for the presentation. Well, it's always good to hear good news. You said we were 0.33% below what we paid.
From last year's
From
premium.
last year?
Yes.
Okay, so if I'm looking at my home insurance, that means I'm a good driver. So in this case, everything that Boulder City is doing is right to get that lower rate, is that correct?
It is when the pool pact goes to look for coverage for the entire pool, every member in the pool, it goes through a series of meetings with reinsurers, and then we obtain the best rate that we can for the pool, for all 144 members. And that overall was a reduction from last year as well. But so first of all, we have that rate for every single member. Then every single member must factor in additions in total insured value. Did you add vehicles? Did you add or lose employees? All of those things then have an immediate impact on what that contribution rate is.
Okay, thank you. So if we reduce our vehicle fleet, say by half, that would be a good thing.
You would be paying 50% less for that auto premium.
Okay.
That's why we want to make sure that's what your broker, your agent does, is to make sure that the vehicles you have, that the property you're insuring is there, that it's on your assessment. And if it's not, you shouldn't be paying a premium for it. If you have reduction in vehicles, that will be a reduction in premium. So that's why it's very important to make sure that you alert the pool or your agent when you buy or sell a vehicle, buy or sell a piece of property.
And it's also good that we do our own inventory to try and get our insurance down.
It is.
Okay, thank you. And also, I just wanted to say, from the government, I've worked for almost 40 years, and the pool pack programs that you have out there are really interactive, and the benefit that the employee gets from that, I mean, right down to if you need help with your taxes. I've never seen that before. So I thank you for all that you're doing in that area. And thank you for the coin. I know what these are all about as well, so thank you. I appreciate it.
Objective is helping dedicated professionals deliver excellence in public service. So with that, Alan, let me go back to the,
She's gonna.
You're not going to get away so
Somebody
easy.
else-
Stand by.
oh, yeah, okay, there you go.
Are you finished?
I am.
Okay,
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Would you like to take the
I
floor?
do. I do have some questions, and either one of you can answer, whoever the best respondent would be. I'd like to acknowledge, though, that our council member Booth serves on the Pool Pack Committee, And we appreciate her efforts there and involvement and keeping us up to speed on where we stand with that. So thank you, Councilmember Booth, appreciate that. A few questions. As I'm looking at the risk management benefits and services plan page in the packet, there's a lot of opportunities, what it looks like, to maybe do our best or achieve excellence in these categories based on what we do, not just the existence of a program, but how well the program exists or is updated. So, for example, you mentioned in this page that there's a risk management grant program. I'm interested to know if Boulder City has received grants through that program and what they were for and the benefit to the community for that, whichever. So,
Paul, would you do that? That's a darn good point, because I should have said something about it, so please.
No worries. Boulder City has participated in this program pretty consistently over the last 3 to 4 years. Off the top of my head, I can tell you we received grants from Pool Pact to place AEDs within all of our city facilities about 4 years ago. Then about 2 years ago, we received a grant to place iPads that had the MSDS, the chemical information on them in each of the common areas of those facilities. So our employees could go, if they were exposed, and find real quick what was in that building. And then most recently, as of 10 minutes ago, we received a grant for telematics, which was on the consent agenda for the tune of approximately $25,000 off the top of my head to assist with that project. So we, the city, participate very heavily in their grant program whenever we can find an opportunity. And the fact that we are that we have won that recognition in years prior opens it up and makes it easier for us to apply for grants. So I hope that answers your question.
thank you. It does. And as we use acronyms, we take for granted that everybody knows what those means. Automatic external defibrillators.
Yes, sir.
The CPR aid to save lives in the community if somebody has a cardiac event. So phenomenal use of a grant for our community safety. And then MSDS material safety data sheets, right, for anything the federal government says is a hazardous material, and the people working with those need access to what it is and how to be safe if you're exposed, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you for that. Where does the grant money come from? Does Pool Pact provide that through a fund that they have? Or?
Thank you. For the record, Alan Culp, Chief Financial Officer. And we invest the money that we have, just like you guys have an investment policy for your organization. And we use the earnings, some of the earnings from the investments to pay for what we call service dividends back to the membership. So our administrative cost the last several years has been 100% paid for by investment earnings for Pool Pact. In addition to that, those investment earnings help pay for service dividends, which includes the grant program. The grant program allows up to $500,000 to the members for these things, as you point out, to protect not only the employees, but the residents and the citizens and the visitors of the community. And the AED program is one that was a very successful program. We've had different like hydraulic lift programs. We've done some cyber grants in the past. So the members come to us. There's a qualification process. They go through the Enterprise Risk Management Committee, of which your very own Paul is on that committee. And also, Paul is the chairman of our workers' comp, so he's one of my bosses, or one of our bosses. So the executive committee, both of Pool and Pact, they work jointly. But the financial resources comes through investment earnings back to the members. Instead of, as Marshall said, we're not a for-profit. It's not going to Geico.com or to shareholders. It's going to residents, entity members for that.
Awesome. Thank you. You answered that question thoroughly. Thank you. And then on this risk management benefits and service pages, there's particularly under the school district emergency operations plan, but I'm guessing that it may apply to law enforcement, fire protection, and other aspects here. Is the thoroughness or the quality of our emergency operations plan reviewed by staff with Pool Pact and then rated, and then our risk assessed and a rate established for that? Or if we don't have one, we pay a higher rate, or how would that work?
So we have a national expert, a security expert that specializes in schools. Okay, Jeff Kay and his firm looks at emergency operations plans. We've had different workshops during our risk management conferences that we put on, and they've done tabletop exercises that address emergency management. Through the LEPC, the local
Preparedness.
Yeah. You know the drill. There you go. That local community that has members from the city, the county, the fire department, the hospitals, all the emergency responders, EMS folks, they go through the emergency command procedures and training and make sure that stuff is up to date. We encourage all members, and this kind of goes back to that ERMAP program, that Boulder Cities went through that complete review, that those things have been evaluated and determined that Boulder City is a role model in that. And so that benefits not only the residents, not only the employees, the organization, as well as Pool Pact in having best practices in place.
Thank you. It's interesting having interacted with Pool Pact over the years of service. There's still something new to be learned, and we appreciate you being here. I'll just comment finally, and Mr. Sikora, thank you for mentioning this. Our consent agenda item 2 was the software technology that allows the monitoring of vehicle maintenance and vehicle safe driving habits and so forth. The contract is not to exceed $186,000 and change, and Paul had mentioned that a portion of that was through the grant through Pool Pact. Is that correct?
Correct. And it's like a pilot project. So you guys have taken the initial step. You stepped up and said, pick us. We'll test out this software. We'll work it. There's going to be some bugs. They're going to work out better. Best practices. And then we have members helping members. So the city of Elko may want to adopt using that same software. Okay? And then they can learn from Boulder City of how that worked. And, we find the grant programs, when they're transferable to other members, to consider these types of programs and service, or in this case technology, that benefits them. Then all of a sudden they can connect with Boulder City and say, me too, and get that program going, whether it's grant funded or they fund it themselves. And that's the power of the pool. Members helping members, developing initiatives, being proactive. Okay? And that's a great step of being proactive, an example of Boulder City being on the forefront. And we appreciate funding programs like that.
Thank you. Does having this technology, did it result in a reduction of our policy this year, or would it potentially next year?
The potential there is an increase, that it's going to, that investment, spending that money that you have made in that technology and that we've made, the goal will be that we will see a reduction in possible claims. Okay? And claims, it becomes a factor. And then we may identify, there may be some training opportunities that are identified using that technology that can make it safer for the employees and have that benefit. And ultimately, with less claims and better risk management programs by all members, the rate hopefully will go down. So let's talk real briefly. It's kind of interesting as a numbers guy, listening to a non-member guy explain on the renewal. So our property coverage, we went from $300 million to $500 million. An increase of $200 million through Lloyd's. That only cost us an additional $150,000. Where that first $300 million is like $5 million. So we were able to expand that. That boiler and machinery coverage that went from $100 million to $150 million, we got that by going to the marketplace. We got that at no additional cost. So at Pool Pact, through our broker, Stephen Romero, working with the local agents in your application and having comprehensive information, we're able to negotiate the best rates year in, year out to provide stability. So the math didn't add up. You go, wait a minute. Our payroll went up. Our property values went up. You had a slight reduction in something, but how did it go down? Well, property, we saw a significant reduction in the property rate this year. And that's what helped do that. Every year we go out and we go to the marketplace. We go to bid, if you will, for property liability, cyber coverage. We had to restructure cyber this year, and our liability, the liability amount went up pretty substantial because of the some of the increases that you're seeing on nuclear verdicts, social inflation, police liability, and that cost is allocated based on FTE of law enforcement. Okay, so from that cost allocation standpoint, that's how that works. So the better practices that an entity has, the lower their premiums will be. And that's factored in. That premium allocation is actually determined by Derek the actuary. He's an independent actuary that works for us from Bickmore Actuarial Services that goes through the math in that allocation. And part of that formula deals with all those factors that were listed up there. So.
Thank you. You went far above and beyond my questions, and I appreciate that. And I want my fellow council members to know I didn't ask a question to prompt that.
But if we could go real quick, if I could please have the indulgence of council, pull up that slide about the coin. The pool's been around since 1987. You guys have been a member since for 37 years. You were 96 on the workers' comp. You came in, our workers' comp is 30 years old. You came in at the beginning. Paul's the chairman of the workers' comp, okay? But if you look around the edge of there are 7 words, okay? And we had a planning retreat that you guys were well represented at, and the discussion was about being proactive, accountability, responsibility, strength, stability, safety, and service. There's 7 different words. And when I was preparing for the presentation, I thought, you know what word resonates Boulder City the best? And I say proactive. I say proactive because I've been coming out to Boulder City working on financial leadership stuff, and I pull up my little Webster's dictionary, websters.com, and it says proactive, and boom, there's the Boulder City and the Hoover Dam logo. Because you guys have been very proactive of things going on, and your financial leadership that you have in this community is one of the best. My former life, I was with Churchill County, and we got them through the financial hardship without any layoffs. You guys have put in special revenue funds into place to strategically prepare for not if, but when dark days come. That to be applauded, okay? One of the things, I'm one of the few guys that actually reads the audited financial statements. Yeah, I know I need to get a life, but reading the financial statements, you guys have got the government officers, GFOA, Government Finance Officers Association Award for Excellence in Financial Reporting for 33 straight years. Okay, Cynthia had, going on 34 this upcoming audit for June 30, 26. So I look at the 6/30/25 financial reports, and I look at the interest income and investments. Okay, and she has 3 different buckets of money on the investment. She has a sweep account set up. About 10% of the money is in money markets, 16% in corporate. The LGIP, local government investment pool from the state, 42% of the assets above 5%. And then U.S. Agencies, 26%. The investment income for Boulder City, just on the governmental funds, not your enterprise funds. If I add that, the number's much bigger. But I'm just going to focus on the governmental side. $4,654,663. Let me slow down. 4.6 million rounding. Well, actually, if you round, it'd be 4.7. The property tax that was collected for Boulder City was $4.2 million. Okay, so that's investment income, best practices, being proactive. You have an overnight sweep account, okay, that goes into a money market fund, okay. Her average rate of return, if you take the ending investment balance on the governments, you divide that by the interest earnings, Cynthia had a return of 4.13%. You go, wow, that's pretty doggone good. Well, go to note 7, where it looks at your debt. You're borrowing money at 2.06%, $12 million. So you're borrowing, you're paying 2%, she's earning she's earning twice that on the investments. That's innovation. So what I did, because I'm a dad and I have dad jokes and corny gifts, we have sweep accounts. So I've picked entities that have demonstrated excellence in investments and have the sweep. And you want to talk about Cynthia and the Power Core. This is extra large size because she's really been killing it. And your staff at Boulder City has been killing it in a very good way. So I'm very, very proud. So Cynthia, if you wouldn't mind coming up and take this broom with great honor.
Yeah.
For everything There you go. Atta girl. Thank you guys for your membership. Again, proactive. If you take and look at those words, maybe pick one word a day and focus on that, not only in your life as an entity, okay, as a city council, city employee, then look at it, for yourself personally. And how can we be proactive? How can we be more accountable, responsible, have strength, stability, safety, and most of all, thank you guys for your service. Thank you, Bill.
That's it for the presentations.
Great. Do
if
we
you
have any other
questions, let me know.
questions?
I do have one more question. You mentioned how POPAC helps the city and the residents, and you also mentioned visitors. How do you do that with visitors?
You ready?
Yes.
I was in your town yesterday afternoon, and I'm flying out tonight. I felt safe. You have a safe community, okay? I was driving around town, and all of a sudden an ambulance went by, and they were rendering aid to somebody. It could have been to me. It wasn't to me. No, it was not me, right? But you have public safety. You have beautiful parks. I walked around town, and you see all that art and how beautiful and how clean the community is. And that's the pride. That's the pride of the elected folks. That's the pride of your employees. That's the pride of your citizens. A citizen walking down the street sees a bag that's blowing in the wind, pick it up, throw it in the trash. And what you guys provide to the community from a safety, culture, recreation. That video before the meeting, those beautiful golf courses, to host an NCAA tournament. Okay? My son played the state championship in 2012 at your community. Unfortunately, he didn't win. They were state champs the year before. But those types of services, recreational opportunities that you provide, not only the residents, but the visitors get to take advantage of that as well. And I probably shouldn't say this on the record. I love Boulder City. I'm not a big Vegas fan. So the fact that I was able to stay out here and I didn't have to see the Strip made me excited. I like coming down here.
That's what we love about it as well.
Yeah.
Another question for any of you. New technology. We're on the verge of AI and all that craziness. How does that play into insurance? Anybody?
I'm sorry, give me that again, please.
New technology with AI and the rest, how does that come into insurance?
Had our presentation on integrating AI for municipalities. And Paul, like everything else, he's working on developing that policy. And before you do, the first thing you have to do is have an AI acceptable use policy in place before you allow staff to start using AI. But you're well on your way. We've been working on an AI acceptable use policy, but that has to be. We were talking today during that presentation, the effective application, professional use of AI was state of the art 18 months ago, 2 years ago.
That's right.
So you're on the right track. But those things have to be in place, that acceptable use policy. And then, we're happy to be here to do any further training on that, on the effective use of AI. At our conference, we had a presentation on AI for board members, on how trustees, board members, council people can use AI in the preparation of your meetings. Because I know you're all very busy, and sometimes you don't have time to spend the time you want to spend on a 70 or, no, you do spend the time doing it. The practical use of AI can cut that time down significantly. So that would be and then of course our cybersecurity policies, the innovations, our proactive approach to protecting our members from the cyber threat, which is growing every day. But we have the policies, practices, procedures that are going to help you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say it was my pleasure to go to the convention this year in Minden. That was a lot of fun. Learned so much. It's just a total learning curve the whole time you're there. And I just want to say the city of Boulder does an outstanding job of doing everything they're supposed to do to lower our costs for insurance. And it's just, there's a great group of people that all get together and put their, 144 people or organizations that get together and put their money together so they can get lower costs on insurance. It's one of the great things that this city does. And one of the things I was amazed about was the fact that our historic building here is insured. So they have come out and looked at it so that they can replace this building back to just the way it looks in case we ever had an earthquake. We won't. But just in case we ever did, that was, to me, was amazing that we could have that type of insurance and still afford it. So it was just a pleasure, and I had a lot of fun working with everybody. You taught me a lot, and I truly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. Just from my perspective, first off, Paul, thank you so much for your service to our community and then also on boards and helping in Pool Pack and getting our risk management grants that allow us to be innovative. I like to hear that we're proactive. I love to hear that word as opposed to reactive. I think you can stave off a lot of problems if you're proactive, and I can see that we have over the years done such a thing. I mean, just even with solar and things like that have kept our community going. So thank you for that, but also thank you to our entire staff for your willingness to do the trainings and come today. Thank you for you guys coming out and being willing to share your talents and your information with the people in our great city. In fact, I would like to hire Alan as a rah Boulder City person because, I mean, I wanted to live here after he was talking, and I do. So we love where we live. I think that it shows, like he said, in the way we serve our community. I see so many of you doing things. It reminds me of when I taught school. There's so many things you don't see that people do, that teachers do. You see what they do when they show up to work, but you don't know what they do when they go home. And I see this in our community of city workers and those who keep it safe, keep it green. And something like this, you bring this to us and you go, oh, Pool Pack, we're going to talk about insurance. This is part of running a city, and it's so important, and we get to be part of this, this group that encourages us to be all of these wonderful things, right? That encourages us to work together, encourages us to monitor ourselves honestly. And so a huge thank you to Marshall, to Alan, to Paul, and all involved. Thank you so much. I do know Lydia's name because I went to junior high and high school with her, and I don't know the rest of your names, but I sure would love to know them. So a huge thank you for what you do. And if that's all on the question and discussion, if I have a motion.
Just a big
Oh.
kudos to Cynthia as
Oh,
well for your
yes.
award tonight.
We must say yes, Cynthia, the SWEEP Award. So congratulations, and thank you, because as was pointed out, right, our debt is less than our incoming just income from our investments. So thank you so much for that.
And I'll move to approve 8143.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion moved and approved in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, aye. Any opposed?
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much. This will move us to the bills portion. And we have number 8, an introduction of bill number 2132, an ordinance of City of Boulder City, Nevada, approving an agreement between the City of Boulder City and C Spot Run.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'll introduce bill number 2132 and waive the reading except for title.
Thank
Second
you.
that.
No second
Oh,
needed.
second needed.
Bill number 2132, an ordinance of the City of Boulder City, Nevada, approving agreement number 26-001 between City of Boulder City and C Spot Run, Inc. to lease land at Veterans Park for operation of a dog park located at 1811 Commons Way. This matter will come before the council for consideration on June 23rd, 2026.
Thank you. Okay, this moves us to number 9 for possible actions, matters pertaining to the city-owned general aviation hangars at the Boulder City Municipal Airport.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Jorgensen, members of City Council. I am Michael Mays, your Deputy City Manager. The city owns 28 general aviation hangars at the airport. Currently, the tenants are on a month-to-month lease. The tenants had asked the city if there was the opportunity for other lease options. In response, the council directed staff to explore additional options. For council consideration is a 3-year lease with a 2-year option, 2-year renewal option. The draft lease addresses issues raised by the current tenants, and some of the key elements include an annual lease of $4.70 per square foot, allows tenant improvement reimbursement of up to $1,000 annually for a maximum of $5,000, and the city will continue to maintain the hangars. So for council consideration tonight, staff is recommending that you hold the public hearing and consider approving bill numbers 2104 through 2131. And I can answer any questions.
Do we have any questions?
I do. There is one hangar that's not on here or exempt?
No, all the hangars are on here.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
I have one. Just how does the $4.70 rental or lease rate per square foot compare to the comps that have been done around the area?
Well, this is based on the required appraisals that we need to undertake, and this is the average of the 2 appraisals. And it is in line and similar to what was the prior appraisal for these hangars.
Thank you. That's all I had.
Okay, the one lease owner I was looking at, he just maintained his month-to-month or?
No, all of them are being considered for council tonight.
Okay.
No, there is one on month to month.
There is one a month to month?
Yes. Yeah,
That's what
from
I-
the beginning, they didn't want to sign, so they were never put on the agenda.
Okay.
They wanted to stay on month to month. So
All
yes,
right.
there is one.
I stand corrected,
Okay,
sorry.
I just wanted to make sure I was looking at it right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if we have no more questions, comments at this time, I will now open up public hearing. Any who are in this room or on the line at 702-589-9629 that would like to come up, please do.
Good evening. Roseanne Rabiola Mealy. I totally, absolutely believe Michael Mays because I've known him for a long time. And I pretty much believe appraisals, but not all the time. I just did a cursory look at the dollar amount per square foot for hangars, just in the Las Vegas area. We're only charging $4.70 a square foot. I'm finding where Las Vegas, like saying North Las Vegas, $30.24 a square foot. The rent, I looked up the rents that are paid in the leases, and it doesn't, I mean, you can figure out 471, divide $644.29 by $4.70, you see how many square feet. But it never tells you in the lease what the square footage is, like right off the bat. So our people are paying like $575 a month, $644.29 a month, $658 a month, and we're cleaning the place. It's like kind of amazing to me. And you gotta put your planes in a hangar. It's not like you can put it in storage somewhere and fly the plane from the storage to the airport. You gotta have them there. This is like a necessity. And I just I'm not questioning, Michael, one teeny tiny iota. I'm questioning an appraisal that we come up with $4.70 a square foot for rent. Something's not right. That's all I gotta say about that.
Again, the phone number is 702-589-9629. Do we have anyone on the phone? Anyone else who's in council chambers who would like to come speak on this item?
Because I want to show you. Mrs. Jorgensen, you wanted us to come up with ideas for possible for what could go in the El Dorado Valley instead of data centers. I have 4 visions here.
Okay, this is actually a public hearing specific to the hangars.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought
No.
it was public comment.
Yeah, no worries. Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to come up? Anyone on the line? Okay, seeing neither, we will close public hearing and move to B, C, D, E, F, G, and so forth. Do I have a motion for that?
I'll move to approve bills 2104 through 2131.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any conversation or comments on that or discussion?
I would like to, in the future, learn how appraisals are made for hangars. I'm not familiar with it, being a year on the council, but I'd just like to, for the record, maybe get some more information on that. Thank you.
Can I ask Michael to come up and give us a brief overview?
Sure.
Michael, could you give us a brief overview of how the appraisals go for the hangar and especially ours?
One moment, I think somebody is on the phone. Can we break for just 1 second? I'd like to reopen public comment for this.
Public hearing, go ahead.
It's David Pitterman. From what I've heard, that the buildings, they could even have surveillance cameras with sound pickup that could be pulled up by date and time, what's going on, and people have to learn to clean up after themselves, even the parks. For pools that you mentioned, some people are allergic to chlorine, so how about saltwater pools?
I'm sorry, sir, this public hearing is pursuant and pertaining to the hangars,
Airport hangars.
airport hangars.
Now I understand. Like the garage for the airport, some airline companies, people have to learn to respect airline companies leasing it out. Like in the big airports like Scenic Airlines. And it would be nice that even have an impound there and a school also as well for kids like the ones that are baptized by one another, teach them not to use it to play sheriff deputy or anything like that. Use it airplanes for appropriate use. That what the consequences are, why they get impounded.
Thank you, sir, for your public comment.
Yes, there's something I forgot to mention. What about an airplane hangar for an impound as well?
Thank you. Okay, we'll close public comment again and invite Michael Mays to come up to explain the process of appraisals.
So appraisals are required by both the city charter and state law. And in order for the city to move forward with conducting appraisal, it has to be authorized by the city council. Just as you heard earlier tonight, staff was seeking appraisals on property in the El Dorado Valley to be renewed. We require 2 appraisals, and we average the 2 appraisals to determine what the lease rate would be. There's a pool of appraisers that are approved, and those are randomly utilized for the various appraisals that are needed. And so that is how the city is ensuring that we are making sure that taxpayer dollars are being appropriately collected through the appraisal process.
When we go out for appraisal, when we're looking at properties, how do we determine what properties that the appraiser is going to look at? Or how does the appraiser determine what properties?
The appraisers are having to look for comparables. I do not have the appraisals in front of me, but I am familiar with the process. So, for example, an appraiser, when looking at viewing the value of a hangar, is not going to look at vacant land. Consequently, if you're looking to appraise land for residential development, they are going to look for similar comps, and that is spelled out in the appraisal reports which are submitted to the city. And they have to justify the basis for how they came up with the appraisal rate.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
When you say similar comps, is that those in a certain area, like as far out as North Las Vegas or as far out as Mesquite, with similar comps?
Yeah, they try to get them from the surrounding market area. And then what appraisers will do, depending on like the size of the comp, maybe it was larger than the one that they are preparing the appraisal for, and so they adjust those values accordingly, so that they're trying to compare apple-to-apple comparisons.
Okay.
So when you say apple-to-apple comparison, it would be probably inappropriate to compare our airport to McCarran.
Correct.
You're going to look for an airport that is similar in use, similar in size, similar in a community size. I mean, can you help me to understand that a little better?
Right, so we're not going to compare a commercial lease rate to general aviation hangar space. So they're going to try to find similar transactions that have occurred within the same market area for similar sized properties for similar uses.
So different airports have different transaction uses at them,
Correct.
and ours is general aviation,
Principally. We do have commercial operations at the airport as well.
but they do not utilize our hangars.
No, they have their own hangars.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or thoughts? Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Does it still, are we good with it?
I'm good for right now.
Okay.
I just have some deeper questions that I think is not appropriate for here, but just some other questions, personal questions. Thank you.
Okay. So with the motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 in favor, 1 opposed?
Yes.
The leases fail if that's the case. Yeah, the leases need 4 votes.
I'm sorry?
Leases need 4 members to vote in favor.
Okay, so Michael, can you come back up real quick?
Yeah. It's,
What were you going to say?
yeah, you have to move to reconsider.
Yeah, I'd like to move to reconsider, because if that's, I didn't know that was the case.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion to reconsider. Do we need to vote on that? Or can we just move to reconsider?
She can just move to reconsider and then, then,
I move to reconsider.
yeah. So then now we can,
Okay,
Yeah.
you have questions for Michael?
I do have a question. So you said the similar comps, surrounding areas, so I would say North Las Vegas maybe, or Executive Airport was closest to ours?
Yeah, I don't have the appraisals in front of me, but this is the standard practice throughout Nevada and the requirements. Appraisers have to meet strict requirements and standards to conduct their appraisals, because in many cases, appraisers end up having to justify their appraisals in a court of law. And so they have guidelines and standard and professional responsibilities that factor into how they determine the appraisal and the value of that property.
And where could I find that?
If you'd like to take a recess, we can get the appraisals distributed to the council. I will say that the appraisers are, again, like as Michael said, they're independent appraisers. They're licensed by the state. They have to follow strict rules. They looked at, I believe in at least one of them, Henderson Executive Airport was considered a comparable. They looked at all of the surrounding airports in the Nevada area, but also looked at, similarly sized airports in other jurisdictions like Arizona or even Northern Nevada. And so when they come up with these valuations, they are scientifically based, and based on a pseudo, it's not science, but it's a formula that the appraisers follow. And in negotiating the leases with the tenants were very unhappy with the appraisal. The tenant representative was unhappy with this appraisal. They felt that it was very high. They actually pointed us to jurisdictions, lots of other airports with much lower rates. But because Nevada, by law, has to lease at the appraised value, we let them know that this is not something, in our charter, it has to be at appraised value. But we saw evidence of other airports that were much lower than our current airport. But we make sure that we follow Nevada law, seek the appraisers. These appraisers are used by other jurisdictions, Henderson, et cetera, and that's how we set the value.
Let's take a recess for 10, how many, 10? Don't have to say, just take a recess for some moments while we get more information. Thank you.
Well,
Welcome back. Welcome back to City Council.
Test. Test 1, 2.
There you go.
Welcome back to our City Council meeting, where we're on regular business. Item 10, or 9, yes, C. And Mr. Mays, if you could please re-explain.
So, at the request of the council, we now have before you on the dais the 2 copies of the 2 appraisals that were done related to this agenda item. Valbridge and the other one is Anderson Valuation Group. With the Anderson appraisal, you'll find on page 74 the comps that I described before. And so they look at similar types of general aviation facilities and comparable lease rates. It shows Henderson Executive, North Las Vegas, but to get more comps, they have gone further out. And so you have Goodyear in Arizona, you have Fullerton, California, Provo, Utah. And so it summarizes square footage, it summarizes the lease rates, and that is how the appraiser derived their appraisal rate for this project. Valbridge, it's contained on page 56 of their appraisal. They looked at 5 other comparables, and in similar fashion, they summarized the location, the square footage, and the lease rate, and that's how they derived their appraisal rate. And so we take those 2 appraisals and we average the numbers, and the average is what is brought before the council.
Mayor Pro Tem, would it be helpful if I gave some additional background on this item?
Yes, please.
Thank you. So this has been in discussions for really a couple of years now. So when the city owned what we called the Nuno hangars, and those reverted, and the city took those hangars back. There was some litigation involved. That litigation was settled. The city took over the Nuno hangars and then sought appraisals and leased them month to month. In November of 2023, the city council considered an agenda item on whether we could look into longer-term lease agreements with those tenants. And so we were directed to hold a town hall and explore additional options other than the month-to-month agreements. So in October 24, we did hold that town hall, and we met with the 28 hangar renters, and the consensus of the meeting was that longer term was desired with a gross rental rate. So since that time, 28 individuals is a lot to negotiate with. They did designate a representative to speak for most of them to help initiate the process, which made things much more streamlined. We did talk with that representative about the terms of what that would look like. Nevada law does require, in order to directly negotiate with one tenant, there has to be an exception. And one such exception is the leases that are less than 25,000 square feet. And then the term of those leases has to be no longer than 3 years with 1 2-year renewal. So that's why these lease agreements are the 3 years with 1 2-year renewal. And so we met with the representative. The city council ordered the appraisals. We went through that process. I believe this was the second round of appraisals. We've had to appraise it a couple of times. And then we went to the tenants with the new rate and negotiated the other terms, letting them know that this was per the city charter has to be at the appraised rate. And as I mentioned earlier before the break, there was some some concern about the rate. Again, some of the tenants had pointed to other jurisdictions with lower rates, but we mentioned that this was required, and ultimately, in order to agree to a longer-term lease, you need the tenant's agreement. And so in order to agree to any of these terms, we had to work with those tenants to agree to the longer term. And so we were able to work out all the terms of the lease with the tenants, and that's the product of what you see here today, is that years of work with those tenants and coming to an agreement for a longer term that benefits all parties. So with that, if there's any additional questions on the process, I'd be happy to shed some more light.
Do we have any further questions or discussion?
Discussion. So first of all, I want to thank you for taking the time to be transparent, not only to me, but to the public, for any questions that we have. Just because I'm a council person doesn't make me any special than those that are listening and in the audience. So first and foremost, I want to thank you for that. While we were on break, I did my own courtesy look, and just face value, it looks like we're comparable to the area. But not only that, I was given a summary sheet of this two pages that probably cost more than the hanger to print out. And I appreciate that as well. For my penance, I will read this tonight, both of these. But I'd like to just go ahead and make a motion, if that's okay, or if that's good to do. Okay, so I make a motion to approve the city-owned general aviation hangars 2104 through 2131.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion. That brings us to regular business, item number 10, where we have possible action on matters pertaining to the collective bargaining between the City of Boulder City and the Boulder City Police Protective Association.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. I'm City Manager Ned Thomas. I have agenda item number 10, which is an item for possible action by the council pertaining to collective bargaining between the City of Boulder City and the Boulder City Police Protective Association. I'm very happy to bring this before you tonight. As noted on the agenda, this item has three elements. Item A is a discussion of the findings of the May 15th binding arbitration that's required under NRS 288.215. B is a public hearing on the collective bargaining agreement. And then C is a resolution, this is Resolution 8144 for a 2-year agreement between the city as an employer and the Boulder City Police Protective Association. This will be retroactive to last July, when the previous collective bargaining agreement expired on actually on June 30th, 2025. So this the current agreement before you in the resolution is for agreement starting July 1st, 2025 through next June 30th, 2027. So for item A, the discussion on the binding arbitration decision, again, pursuant to NRS 288.215, I'll cover the following items. First are the issues that were submitted to the arbitrator for consideration and a binding decision. Two, a statement from the arbitrator, and then third, the overall fiscal impact of the arbitrator's decision. So the first item, the issues submitted to the arbitrator. After several months of negotiations, the city and PPA were able to come to agreement on several key issues, with the exception of compensation. So to determine a fair compensation, the city and PPA jointly agreed to submit their competing proposals, if you will, for the arbitrator to make a decision. And it was on the following issues. The first one is the annual cost of living, or the COLA, as we often, cost of living adjustments, or COLA. In other words, the annual wage adjustments. Also, as part of this, our negotiations, we had gone back and forth on the format for the step system. For years, the Police Association had been on a 5-step system, and we were proposing to move to a 10-step system to be more similar to most of the other jurisdictions in Southern Nevada that we were asked to use as comparators. And then also we were looking at the shift differential. This is extra pay that is applied to the base wage when work outside or when an officer is asked to work a longer shift, and then a retention bonus. So there were 4 parts of the compensation that we asked the arbitrator to look at. So after receiving detailed proposals from both the city and the PPA, the independent arbitrator accepted the city's full proposal as more reasonable than the union's. And a full copy of the arbitrator's report, which was issued on May 15th, 2026, is included in the packet. Key elements of the new PPA collective bargaining agreement then, because this was binding arbitration, is that we will move from a 5-step system to a 10-step system. Again, that will be similar to most of the other jurisdictions, if not all of them, in some way or other in Southern Nevada, so that this movement or this transition from 5 steps to 10 steps doesn't harm any of the officers currently that are currently working for the city. We came up with a plan to accelerate existing employees so that they're not harmed during part of that transition, and that is also discussed a little bit in the staff report. There is a pay increase of 4.375% retroactive to July 1st, 2025, and there will be an additional pay increase of 3% on July 1st, 2026. And then there will be, we're introducing the idea of a retention, or the concept of a retention bonus at 2% at year 15, and then an additional 2% at year 20. And this is to recognize our longer tenured police officers. And to, again, it's meant as a retention bonus to keep that experience here with the city and to recognize their work and their dedication to the city. So thirdly, the annual fiscal impact of proposed increases in wages and benefits. And again, this is the increase over what the base was. So the annual fiscal impact of the proposed increases in wages and benefits will be $626,558 in current fiscal year 26, and then $865,250 in the next fiscal year 27. So that again is the increase over the current wages and benefits. So this is the additional cost of those wage increases. Now I'll just, to give you put that in context, the total cost of the decision, as noted in the arbitrator's report, is $5,384,403 in fiscal year 26 and $5,626,113 in fiscal year 27. This is the total cost of wages and benefits paid to our police officers in this bargaining unit over the 2-year period. As noted also in the arbitrator's report, this represents approximately 25% of the city's overall expenses. So with that description of the arbitrator decision and the proposals made and accepted by the arbitrator, staff recommends that the City Council now hold a public hearing on the proposed collective bargaining agreement and then approve Resolution 8144, approving a 2-year agreement between the city's employer and the Boulder City Police Protective Association for the period of July 1st, 2025 through June 20th, 2027. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions?
I've got one, please. You had mentioned, Mr. City Manager, that shift differential was one of the key elements, and I don't recall hearing you comment on how that came out.
So the change, yes, I'm sorry that I overlooked that. The change there was primarily going rather from a dollar amount to a percentage. Again, this was to bring us into more consistency with how the other jurisdictions in the valley are paying their shift differential. And
So we have 3 shifts, right? We have day, swing, and grave.
Right, correct.
And do you have the breakout of what each one differential would be in your notes?
I do not have, do you happen to remember? I might have to ask our city attorney if you remember. I don't have them in my notes, but let me look really quickly. It will be in the
It went,
agreement itself. Let me find out. Oh, go ahead.
I don't have that in front of me. I believe it was yeah, I don't want to speak incorrectly. I'm looking for it.
Yeah, I can, it's very short. I can read what the arbitrator found. It is one area of interest, I believe. So the employer, meaning the city, justifies its proposal as essentially changing the current dollar amount to a percentage, which I described. The union showed that a higher percentage are paid by all of the comparators, including smaller ones, and in that sense, the arbitrator felt that the union's proposal was more reasonable than the employer's. However, as part of the arbitration, it's an all or nothing. So because the rest of our proposal was considered more reasonable, then they accepted our proposal. And let me find that, and I'll just look in this other section here really quickly.
I can further dive into this without holding up the meeting, unless you have it readily available.
I'm going to have here.
It went to 4%. I believe it was
Yeah.
$1.50
Converting,
before.
yeah, in the arbitrator, converting the dollar amount for shift differential to a percentage matching the dollar amount is reasonable. Let's see.
So day is the
I think it was
baseline,
4%.
right? Day's the baseline, and swing and grave get the shift differential. Is that what you're saying? At the same differential? Or does grave get different?
There is no swing shift, so there's just grave differential.
So they
and
work a 10 and a 14, is that what,
Yeah.
hours that they work? Okay.
In my understanding, yeah, there was no swing shift, and so we just,
So it's 4% for the,
yeah, and it was $1.50.
okay. So 4%, thank you.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Yeah. They were
When it says binding arbitration, I thought when we sent it off to arbitration, we agreed that it was binding. So we can oppose this, is what you're saying?
Well, it's binding on the two parties.
It's
So,
binding
but
on
it
the
still
two
needs to
parties.
come to the
Everybody's
council.
agreed to this, and this is what we go for, even though we're voting on it.
Correct.
Okay.
You still have to vote
I-
to approve it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other?
I just wanted to say thank you for all your hard work on this. I know it's been a long road trying to get two sides together and not having an arbitrary come in the middle. Hopefully your work is not in vain, but I just want to say thank you to you and the staff.
Thank you. I just have a question regarding the second year you said goes up 3%. Is that inclusive of COLA?
That is the COLA.
That is the COLA? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. That was the question that I had. Any other questions? Then I'd like to open up public hearing for the public on collective bargaining agreement between the City of Boulder City and the Boulder City Police Protective Agency.
As you were
Or
talking.
association.
I read this, I swear I read this afternoon, but I found the two differences, if you'd like, on shift differential. So the union, their proposal was 6%, and the city's was 4%. So that was the difference.
Great, thank you for that clarification. So public hearing is now open. If you would like to call in at 702-589-9629, you are welcome to call in, or if you're inside the chambers at this time and would like to come forward to discuss this, please do. Seeing no one in chambers, do we have anyone on phone currently?
No callers on the phone.
And no callers on the phone. We're going to close public hearing and move on to item C in number 10, which is resolution number 8144. City Manager, just a point of clarification. When we talk about binding arbitration, that means what the city proposed and then what was proposed by the Boulder City Police Protective Association, both of those went to the arbitrator.
Correct.
And when it's binding, it's different than non-binding.
Correct. And I might make a comparison. So when we went through a similar process, we didn't call it, with the firefighters, for example, it was non-binding arbitration. So it came back to us kind of a little bit more than a suggestion, but it gave us some direction as to which way we should go, and it was an independent analysis. It was looked at as an independent analysis of the two proposals. With the binding arbitration, under state law, it's my understanding that the two parties must abide by what comes out of that, and there isn't any room for picking and choosing among or renegotiating or revisiting what the proposals might be.
So this was the final step. This is what has come back, and this is what the resolution for us is to look at today.
Correct.
Thank you. Do I have anybody who would like to make a motion or have any questions or discussion?
I'll move to approve 8144.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Discussion,
Oh,
please.
discussion. Yes, discussion for sure.
Thank you, thank you. And this has been, I think, a long, drawn-out process, we all would agree. And it's when you go through the negotiating process and you get to the step of arbitration, it generally hasn't gone well. And not only that, but there have been some vitriolic sentiments associated with this, unfortunately. I want to make it in a statement on the record to our Police Protective Association that we appreciate their service. We value them as individuals. We value their sacrifice, their service to the community, their willingness to put on that badge, and all that entails. We've talked about the process of negotiations being improved upon in the future. I fully expect that will occur so that as the two parties, in this case, the two parties and the other parties in the city sit down together, it's more of on the same side of the table than on opposite sides of the table. And a lot of that has to do, quite frankly, with the fact that the city engages a particular third party in the process. And it's good for us to reconsider how the direction comes from council to staff and how the direction comes from staff to the third party. And therefore, how the negotiations have the tenor of working together as partners and showing through the negotiation process the value of those employees to the city and to the community, and that the community at large appreciates them. And because it went to this, I think some of the individuals might feel those words might be a little hollow, and that's their prerogative. But this is hopefully considered a fair and an equitable process to meet the needs that they had. And I know that in the process, the city, right, all of us as we sit and approve some of these things, have worked with them. It has been a negotiation and not a mandate to one or the other. But there has been movement. There has been good faith in this endeavor. And that this is the result. And I think hopefully we all can go forward in a positive way. The Police Protective Association members, their executive board, and the members of the police department as well. So I appreciate them and their efforts, and staff, as has been noted, and look forward to refinements in working together with our employees in the future. So those are the comments I wanted to make during discussion before our vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Is there any more discussion at this time?
No.
I too would just like to say thank you to all involved. These are not always comfortable processes that we go through, but hopefully it's recognized that it doesn't mean that we do not value and appreciate both sides, actually, because of the process. It puts us sometimes on opposite ends of the table, as have been mentioned. We're in a city this size is a very uncomfortable place to be, but we love those men and women who served our community to keep it safe. Just as Alan earlier from Pool Pack said, he just felt safe. And there's quiet people in the background that allow this to feel safe, and we recognize them. So thank you for that process. At this time, we have a motion and a second, so we'll have a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We will now move to item number 11, Madam City Attorney, for possible action, resolution number 8145.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Before you is item 11, which is a resolution approving a new agreement for prosecutor services with the law firm of Rush Law. The city is in need of prosecutor services. Since 2005, the city has contracted with private law firms to provide those services for the city. In 2023, Mr. Gary Booker retired after 18 years of service, and Thomas Moskal took over the prosecution for the city. He was the lead prosecutor on vehicular crimes unit and was very valuable to the city. And then in August, he began working with Justin Wilson of Cox & Wilson. And Mr. Wilson has served until now, and both are now pursuing other endeavors. The law firm of Rush Law is interested in providing these services to Boulder City. Biographies of the attorneys are both listed below. Jamie Rush is the principal and founder of Rush Law. And then we also have Jonathan Chagoya, who would be the lead prosecutor as also at Rush Law. They're both here if you'd like to discuss and ask them any questions. But Mr. Rush has 10 years of experience prosecuting for the Attorney General. And Jonathan Chagoya has been practicing in our court for the past few years, is also really knowledgeable on our Boulder City Municipal Court practice. So I think they both bring a lot to the table, and it'll be a good relationship for the city.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
I would like to meet them,
Yeah.
since they drove all the way to Boulder City.
Thank you, members of the council. I would actually say I did not drive all the way to... My apologies. I would say I did not drive all the way to Boulder City. According to the Boulder City Chamber of Commerce, I basically live in Boulder City. I live right off of Wagon Wheel, and on their map of restaurants, they include Remedies, which is right over the street from me, so we'll call that honorary Boulder City.
Yes, we will.
All right, well, I drove here, but it was a lovely drive, and so everything's fine. We appreciate you meeting with us, happy to answer any questions. If the sales pitch is needed, I guess I would just say I think Jonathan and I make a pretty good combo for what's being asked here. I have reasonably extensive prosecutorial experience. Mr. Chagoya here has been practicing in the court in Boulder City for the last couple of years at least, and so I think between us we could do a really great job and try to serve everyone's interest the best we can.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Do we have any questions?
I do. I see that you have 20 years veteran as Army.
Yes, Councilwoman Ashcroft. I'm actually still serving in the Army Reserve. In fact, this is the reason that we are not starting immediately, is because next week I have annual training with my reserve unit, which is based out of LA County in California, so I do have to cross the border, sadly, to get over there. But yes, I continue to serve. I do not plan on retiring anytime soon. The health insurance is just too good.
Well, I want to say go Air Force.
And I will say agree to disagree, but It is a brother and sisterhood, and so I'm glad
Yes,
to
it
be
is.
on part of the same team
You're
here.
the first kind Army guy I met, so thank you for that.
Don't let the rest of them know about it, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, if there's no questions, I would entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve Resolution 8145.
I second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Welcome.
We're honored. Thank you.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now move on to item number 12, which is the city manager's report, claims paid report.
Nothing unusual in the report to note. Thank you.
Thank you. And item number 13, also city manager's financial report,
Yeah.
unaudited.
Yeah, same for that report as well. Nothing unusual to point out.
That's nice. You know what? We don't always realize how nice it is that there is nothing unusual to report, but thank you so very much. And as we know, we received a broom. Our finance director received a broom tonight because of that, so thank you. We have public comment now. Public comment is for any item of discussion at this time for 3 minutes. You're welcome to come up here and please give your name for the record. You may also call in at 702-589-9629. Thank you.
Hi, Bryn Delormier. And, all right. So perhaps this is a non-standard platform to use for my message tonight, but actually, can you hand me that? Thank you. I have a prop. So seeing as the city is using the mayor's desk column in the BC Review, it's using its government website. It's using our utility mailers. I saw a data center advertisement in there when I opened these this morning. And though this wasn't expected, but there is a Chamber of Commerce podcast it was supposed to be a residents debate, but seeing as the data center issue is so deeply unpopular with residents, we actually couldn't find 3 residents to argue on behalf of data centers. So thank you to our city manager for stepping up. You actually did a really great job on that. I hope you think so too. We're all our own worst critic. But anyway, there's a data center podcast out there. But so I do feel like the city has, other than that one, we had to ask Ned to do that. But I do feel like the city is kind of overstepping. We don't typically use the city website to advertise for companies or our utility mailers, as far as I know, to advertise for private companies or the mayor's desk column. It's the first time I've seen any of those, so I'm just going to use this public comment platform here to do the opposite. So if anybody received a text from us in the maybe 4 o'clock to 6 p.m. hour tonight saying, hey, you, first name, should Boulder City voters have the final say before large data centers can be built here? We need 1,700 signatures by June 25th. That's just a message to everybody. We downloaded some 9,000 numbers of Boulderites. It's not spam. That's from us. It's your neighbors. It's us who texted you. Please be nice when responding. We have a citizens initiative petition, and that is to get a question on the ballot, hopefully, to make data centers something all over town, not just in areas outside the El Dorado Valley transfer area, but everywhere in this town that will need to be voted on this November. So please respond, please sign it, and thank you to everybody up here and everybody watching tonight. Thank you.
Again, that phone number is 702-589-9629. Do we have anyone on the phone? Thank you.
There's 2 sides. I can hold one. Good evening.
My name is Carol Schulteis, and a couple of different meetings ago, we were talking about data centers and how they're not really the vision of Boulder City. There's nothing in our history. I've been here for 35 years. We've done everything opposite data centers. I did come up with 4 different visions, and I'd like to just have you guys look at them. I know I can't hold them all up myself. This is a desert tortoise oasis. No trees, very little water. It brings in revenue, and it's in line with the vision of Boulder City. The Railroad Museum, the Aquatic Center, Bootleg Canyon. These are things for families, and we shouldn't introduce things into the valley that could change us forever. I want to begin by saying that the people standing before you tonight are not afraid of change. Everybody who came to the meetings and who is against the data centers, we're not afraid of progress, we're not afraid of technology, and we're not afraid of data centers. In fact, I use artificial intelligence to help create these visions, and I use data every day, just like every one of you. We understand what data centers are. We also understand that Las Vegas and Henderson already contain nearly 40 data centers, many developed in just the last few years. Those facilities are already competing for water and power from the same reservoir and the same power grid that we all are using and depend on when we run short here in Boulder City and we need to purchase it off the grid. 38 already in Henderson and Las Vegas. The visions I'm presenting tonight do good things for this town. They bring in revenue. They're family oriented. These projects would bring people into Boulder City rather than simply placing industrial infrastructure beside it. Most importantly, they are consistent with the character, heritage, and tourism-based future that the Boulder City has spent decades building. Boulder City has never lacked vision. We are a town that built Hoover Dam and helped create one of the greatest engineering achievements in American history. While Hoover Dam no longer powers the entire Southwest as it once did, we are still proud to be its home. Our history teaches us that great accomplishments begin with imagination, determination, and willingness to think beyond what is easiest today. The residents opposing data centers are not saying no to progress. We are saying yes to a different kind of progress, one that supports local businesses, attracts visitors, strengthens our community identity, and preserves the unique character of Boulder City. The Railroad Museum started with volunteers and a vision, and those guys are great. They worked hard for years before it became a reality and before the state pitched in. It's a wonderful thing. Please do not change the identity of Boulder City.
Thank you.
These will all be on display in several areas throughout the city, if anybody wants to see them further.
Thank you.
We can leave these up here for you guys to take a look at. Good job.
If we put it like that. Thank you.
Please do.
Is there anyone on the phone? Okay, anyone else here that would like to come for public comment?
Roseanne Rabiola Mealy. Just a couple of questions. I was looking at the glossy handouts for the budget, and I noticed that Pool Pack said that we have 199 employees, and the glossy handout said we have 184.6 employees. So they're charging us for 199 employees or 184.6 employees. So that might be something we want to take a look at. And also, the amount of employees went up by 20 employees to reach the 184.6 figure in 6 years. So from 2020 until now, it went up 20 employees. So I just wanted to know, what are we getting for an extra 20 employees? The glossy also said that the city owns and maintains 82 buildings. Sounds like kind of a lot of buildings to me. I mean, that I'm being subjective, but 82 buildings sounds like kind of a lot of buildings to own and maintain. I would like to see if we have a list that lists all those buildings, and what's the value of 82 buildings? That's land, that's the building on top of it, all the maintenance. Just thought I'd ask a couple of questions.
Council members, my name is Adam Schultes, and I'm the only candidate for City Council who has clearly and consistently opposed data centers. At the last two council meetings, I spoke about the tremendous amount of water that data centers use, including closed-loop systems. Tonight, I am talking about what this project would cost Boulder City. This is lesson 3 of my 10-part series to educate you, the council, about data centers. We are told the city would receive $1.3 million a year with 2% annual increase from Townsite Solar 2. But Boulder City is not a line item. And we should not lock this community into a 90-year industrial deal for a payment plan. Townsite Solar 2's own proposal says this project would create 200 to 300 jobs during construction and testing, but only 25 to 40 permanent technical jobs after that. This is a short burst of activity, followed by almost nothing. We are being asked to accept a permanent footprint for a minimal return, and the evidence backs it up. Once again, from a university, irrefutable. A 2025 report from the University of Michigan says, this is really interesting, quote, data centers do not deliver high-paying tech jobs to local communities, unquote. And Michigan has, it's Virginia, Texas, and Michigan who have the most data centers in the country. And that's from their own university. This is not economic development. It is bad. It is a bad deal dressed up as one. This is the heart of the issue. This is about who we are, what we want to protect, and what kind of Boulder City we leave behind. 90 years is not a contract. It is a legacy. If this project is not right for Boulder City, then no annual payment makes it right. This council's duty, your duty, is to stand with the people in Boulder City, not your self-interest, not big mega billion-dollar companies. This council's duty is to stand with the people who live here, raise families here, and expect this city to be protected for generations to come. So, I'm asking all of you to stand up for Boulder City. That's who you represent, the people. Stand up for its future. Stand up and reject this project. Stand up and reject this false choice. Stand up and reject selling out this community one payment at a time. Stand up and say no to data centers because Boulder City is not for sale.
Thank you. Is there anyone on the phone? Is there anyone else in chambers?
Good evening, Madam Pro Tem Mayor, council, staff, ladies and gentlemen, Brandon Smith for the record. Again, just want to throw out some good thoughts for our MIA mayor tonight and wish him well. Obviously, I'm up here again. I know you guys were hoping that we wouldn't show up tonight, but here we are. Just here to talk about data centers once again. It is the hot topic. It continues to be the hot topic. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a voice. And being out in the trenches every minute of every day talking about this issue, there does seem to be an incredible lack of support for this project from Boulder City citizens as well as the surrounding communities that border Boulder City. They continue to reach out to us and say, how do we do what you're doing? We don't want these things either. We know what these projects are. We know what they aren't. What they aren't is good for Boulder City. We have a gentleman in the audience tonight who might eventually change that through the evolution of technology. And we the people of Boulder City, I'm sure I speak for a lot of them, not all of them, but I know that there are better solutions coming soon than allowing this proposal as it sits with the technology that it represents in today's current climate. There's better stuff coming soon. And I know that we can do better as a city. I know that we can do better for 5 generations of Boulder people that will grow up behind a 90-year lease. And once again, I will ask this council to seriously consider your future, our future, the city's future, and really start listening to what everybody's saying out there. It's not good, and it continues to be one topic that seems to cross every boundary of political alignment. Doesn't matter. Everybody's kind of on board with this, and I wish you guys would really, really consider this. The Planning Commission voted against it, and I hope that you will too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here that would like to come up for public comment? Is there anyone on the phone? Seeing no one on the phone and no one in chambers, we will now close public comment and move on to the City Council's report. City Councilwoman Ashers.
Thank you, Mayor. So I attended the National League of Cities with Mayor Pro Tem Jorgensen, and we got the opportunity to sit with Governor Lombardo and 14 other municipalities in Reno last week. Each municipality was asked to submit paperwork from the city about our budget, basically. Out of all the municipalities, Boulder City's practices were on display, and we are a city to be emulated. In summary, we own our own land. We lease rather than sell our land, which keeps a decent revenue flow coming in. We have low property taxes, comfortable savings, and currently, we could say no debt. Finally, we have controlled growth, which makes us unique. We also have Chamber Venture Center and the state new railroad museum coming on board, so that's moving forward as a city. Not on the agenda of the governors, but I'd like to add, we have the best schools in Clark County, best athletes, and a municipal court that gives second chances through the Breaking the Cycle program. I left the meeting feeling honored to be a representative of Boulder City. We on the council may not be perfect, but we are sincere when carrying out our duties. Everyone, to include our staff, are driven to meet the needs of our community, to listen and hear your voices, ultimately making the right choices for all of our constituents. After tonight's briefing, listening to Pool Pack, we haven't even touched our accomplishments that we could go on forever and ever. I think we are honored to be here. I know being in the military for 20 years and working for the government for 20 years, I decided to live in Boulder City. And I think I decided to live here for the same reason everybody else decided to live here, because we have small growth, because we are a safe community, because our children could do all that they do in the school system and on and on. I just am honored to be here, to be on this council, to be a representative. I reach out to our candidates that are running, and hopefully they are as well happy to be here, and should they get into council, realize that decisions are not always easy. They're quite hard, actually, and there's a lot of work to be done on the council that the average person and the residents don't know that we do, but there's a lot of work that goes on in the background. I love the transparency. We saw that tonight. I was stumped on one of the items, and the mayor took time to stop the meeting until I got the answer that I wanted. That's the city we live in. It's not just a city where it goes one way, the city council out to the public. No, we do listen and we hear and we act upon that. I do, once again, want to congratulate Paul and Cynthia on the job that they did tonight and the kudos that they got from people that don't live here, that wish they could live here because of what we do. We have a great city, and I'm just proud to be a part of it. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members.
Well, that was exciting, Denise. I wanted to talk about Main Street. I serve on the representative of Main Street, and they're going to be doing something real special because we didn't get to have a New Year's Eve party downtown. June 13th from 5 to 11, they're going to block off downtown, and they're going to have something called neon lights, and they want everybody to dress in neon colors and 80s look, and it should be a lot of fun, so you can just party all night long and eat at your restaurant and dress up and have a good time. And I also, with Main Street, Michelle went ahead and got a grant for the planters that we've all seen downtown. I hope everybody's seen the planters. If you haven't had the opportunity, take a drive downtown, because it just brightens up the area. They're big, giant planters with plants in them, and the businesses have obligated themselves into maintaining those planters for us. And then at the very end, I'd like to say to Dr. Hardy, thank you for the heartfelt message. That was wonderful that he's doing better, and we're looking for him to coming back. Thank you.
Thank you all. As far as the Colorado River Commission, nothing on the Water Authority side right now. There are exciting discussions with San Diego County. I think I mentioned that last meeting about their desalinization, the potential for Arizona and Nevada to purchase part of their allocation. We'll see how that turns out. But the Colorado River Commission is assisting in the Department of the Interior in the procurement of 4 Whitehead turbines. We know the Whitehead turbines spin at lower speeds with lower water head pressure required and able to produce power commensurate to what the faster spinning low head or narrow head turbines do. So the point is that they're working on helping preserve Hoover power coming out of that hydrologic dam. So that's really important to everybody in the area, especially Boulder City. We get a fair amount of our power out of Hoover A and B. However, the lead time, as we know, for all these projects is about 2 years for these turbines. So we're going to have to make do with the best we can. Power pool, the level at which we can no longer produce power below 950 feet. We're still above 1035, so we're not quite yet pushing at the power pool level. However, we do expect Hoover or Lake Mead to drop further this summer. I've mentioned that as well because they're going to keep water in Powell for various reasons. So, critical as ever in the water department. As far as the Convention Authority, many significant events coming to town, helping drive tourism, helping drive the economy for the valley, and as we've learned over the years, a couple of years ago, when we haven't had the drop for the socio-political issues that are going on, we had about 6,000 visitors from Vegas come through the areas in the outlying parts of town for what we would call adventure tourism, and especially Boulder City benefits from that. So a lot of events coming. An interesting new, did you know? The Loop is the underground transportation system that moves people all around the campuses of the convention center as well as some of the resort areas. Plan to go all the way to the airport, and it's operated with Tesla vehicles. And they're still manually driven by humans, but the technology is being continually tested and improved upon to make that fully automated, which will make it even more exciting and hopefully profitable for the convention center and all that happens there. So that's an interesting contract that's coming up, is the operational contract for the Loop. It's been functioning for a few years now and is continuing to expand. So while it's not without its issues, which most large projects are, it's still progressing well. Yeah, that's all I have for my reports.
Thank you. I hope that you can see that our council is very diverse, and they've been asked to serve on many different boards and gather a lot of information and help others to see how valuable Boulder City is to the valley and to the state. I got to go to my Boulder City Museum board meeting. They're digitizing all of our pictures. People turn in items and pictures from this area for them to have so that we can keep and retain our history. So they're digitizing a lot of that so that they can share it and people can go online and they can come and access that and have pieces of this history. So it's kind of a fun time over there. Plus the museum is getting a little bit of an upgrade. So if you haven't been over there and you haven't seen it for a little while, it's really kind of fun to go over and refresh your memory about how we came to be here in Boulder City. As Councilwoman Asher said, she and I got to go to Carson City and meet with the governor and other mayors from the state. I agree with all that she said, well, because we were both there, but it's very interesting. Sometimes we get caught up in a small community about what's good or bad about where we live. It's not until you come together with other leaders of a community that you recognize how much good there is in this community. And, some municipalities will find themselves bankrupt in 5 years, they said. We do not stand in that position because we've been wise stewards of the resources that we have, and we are looking carefully at ways to be wise stewards. One of those is the land that we have, and other places are completely landlocked with no hope. That was another municipality said, we're landlocked. There's nothing we can do. There's nowhere we can go. Other municipalities have to stop utilizing their police forces in certain places because they can't afford to pay them anymore. So there's a lot that's going on out there in the state that I don't think we recognize because we live in a small, tiny town of 15,000 people that's actually doing so well that when it was my turn to talk about our municipality, I didn't feel guilty, but I kind of felt a little bit, it was humbling to be for sure. And I'm very grateful for the wise stewardship of people who have served before us and for those who currently serve. It has put us and our municipality in the position that we're in, and it is a good position that we're in, and we do have a lot that's great in this community. And it's not just the things we have, it's the people. And with that, the meeting's adjourned.
Good job.
Good job, everybody.
Mayor.